The Battle of Stalingrad. The battle began in August of 1942 and went until February of 1943. This was one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. The battle was fought in the city of Stalingrad near the capital of the Soviet Union. Hitler wanted to take this city to enrage the Soviet Union President Stalin. Hitler was expecting to attack during early summer, but due to setbacks, they were unable to attack until August. Germany, having air superiority, made the first move. They made a bombing run. The bombing run decimated the city and everything in it. On the ground, Germans had the upper hand, taking about 90% of the city with brute force, leaving the Soviet infantry divisions on the bank of the Volga River almost completely isolated and under attack. The first thing that happened was Hitler and his generals sending the forces of Wehrmacht to the south of Russia to take the oil fields. Stalingrad was targeted because of its industrial power and trade routes on the Volga River, but the main reason why Hitler wanted it was because of its name. The Germans started out by bombing Stalingrad. The Soviets had more than enough warning to evacuate any civilian and any other resources out of Stalingrad. Before the Soviets could get all the food and civilians out, the Luftwaffe started cutting off supply lines, thus cutting off Stalingrad. The Soviet Air Force was poorly equipped to defend the city against the attack. On the 28th of July, Stalin issued Order 227, urging not one step back. Stalin mandated everyone in the city to stay in the city. The local people of Stalingrad willingly rallied to help build anti-tank trenches and ditches. General Paulus was the one leading the German army into Stalingrad. The Soviet Navy used the Volga River to move food, weapons, ammunition, troops, and any wounded civilians or troops out of Stalingrad. The Soviets enlisted men and women, something the Nazis would have never dreamed of. Women in the Russian military were used as pilots, tankers, snipers, field medics, etc. They had the same amount of participation as the men in the Red Army did. By the end of August, German tanks had hit the suburbs of Rhinock, within sight of Stalingrad and the river Volga. By October, most of the city was in the hands of Germany. The Soviets kept control of areas alongside the Volga's banks. Soviet General Zhukov was gathering new forces on either side of the city in preparation for an assault. The cruelty of the Russian winter began to take its toll on the Germans. On November 19th, the Soviets made their move, launching a counteroffensive that began with a massive artillery bombardment of the German positions. The Soviets then assaulted the weakest link in the German forces, inexperienced Romanian soldiers. 65,000 were ultimately taken prisoner by the Soviets. The Soviets then made a bold strategic move, encircling the enemy, launching a pincer maneuver from the north and south simultaneously. The Germans should have withdrawn, but Hitler wouldn't allow it. He wanted his armies to hold out until they could be reinforced. By the time those fresh troops arrived in December, it was too late. The Soviet position was too strong, and the Germans were exhausted. It was only a matter of time before the Germans would be forced to surrender.